we've just had another briefing on the issues surrounding the strikes in the Caribbean and other actions in the region. And before I get to the substance of it, I continue to think that the whole underlying basis and effect of equating a boat or an entity that has drugs onto the same as, in a sense, terrorists that had guns or bombs, I find problematic. I found the two areas that I'm most focused on right now is the video that I saw last week. I believe the American people deserve to see. And even if you would argue, well, there are sources and methods, I'm not sure I accept that argument, but sure as hell, at least members of Congress ought to see, because they all have appropriate clearances. And it's a little strange where administration officials say, well, we can release edited versions of videos that they like to brag about, but then not at least show the immediate moments up to and including the second strike that took place on September 2nd. In addition, and as I said last week, I'm very reluctant to reach a final conclusion about what was legal or appropriate or not, because once you reach those conclusions, you can't take it back. But I've requested documents around execution orders, around communications, around JAG opinions, about whether the overall legal opinion was in any way changed after the September 2nd attack, and then when the briefing was finished or the legal briefing was finished on September 5th. So far, I've not got those answers. I did not get a complete refusal, but I got inadequate answers that I've got to have, and frankly, I think members of Congress deserve, and for that matter, if all of this is not going to be shared with the American public, members of Congress need to make judgments, and we've got to have all those documents. And sure as heck, the videos themselves need to be seen, I believe, by the American public, but at the very least, by all members of Congress.
Senator Warren, were you given some impression as to how close the administration may be to actually putting boots on the ground in Venezuela? And if so, did they give you appropriate rationale as to why they would take that step?
Again, I'm not going to get into any of the particulars on this briefing. As we know, most of the drugs, because again, we're not talking about fentanyl, let's be clear, that is still, that comes into Mexico, that is the item that it kills the most Americans. This is about cocaine, bad as well. And most all of that cocaine originates in Colombia and Ecuador. And the whole basis here, again, that connections between the Maduro regime, and Maduro's a bad guy, leads to potential action. I've got a lot of questions, and those questions were not answered.
Senator, did the Secretary Hegseth give you an update on the status of reviewing the video? He said that he's reviewing it before he can
that is, I got the question, or he said he's still on a review process. But again, even if you grant the Secretary all the benefit of the doubt and say, under this multi-hour video, some parts might be fall into that category, which I don't believe I would accept, but how you can suddenly say, well, we're going to release videos of a boat and then our strike action, but we're not willing to release the video when the survivors are identified before a strike takes place, in my mind, doesn't pass any kind of smell test on any kind of difference there.
Was the video shown again in this briefing?
No, it was not.
Did he give you a timeline for when he would decide?
No, it was not. No, it did not.
Did they commit to providing the X swords or provide any other rationale for not providing them?
Well, and again, I made my request last week when Chairman of Joint Chiefs Kane was there, and I felt he and Admiral Bradley were forthcoming last week. I've still got a lot of questions. I reiterated those written documents, like the JAG opinion, after action report, the actual order, the execution order that was given, whether the legal opinion justifying the whole policy was in any way changed between the September 2nd strike and September 5th when it was written. I got the notion that they are still considering all that, but for someone who recognizes how critically important that this decision is, particularly when you're talking about American military potentially taking actions that are not appropriate under international law, I want to be proven that that was not the case. And that's why I want my colleagues to see the video. I think the public ought to see the video, and it's why I want to see these documents so that I don't make any rash judgment. People making rash judgment on this issue because it's so important. I think I'm worried about it. Again, I have great respect for our military and their professionalism. And again, I feel like they have been put in kind of an untenable situation. Thank you so much.
Orders need to be released